Hi, this is Dan here. I hope you're doing really well today. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you all about 16th notes. Fantastic rhythms that are used in so many different styles of bass playing. First of all, I'm just going to take you through all the different permutations of 16th notes. Yeah, that last bar was just a whole load of 16th notes not played, rests. Okay, so there are 16 combinations I'm going to go through quickly here. This is quite an academic, fairly intellectual exercise because a lot of the times you won't really hear and find bass lines that just stick to one of these rhythms, and they're also not really always written like this. So that's where at the end of the lesson I'll show you the other side of it. So we're going to play a C note here just for all the rhythms, but at the same time I will show you some other things as we go. You can download this PDF for free, plus I'll put an audio example underneath of how everything goes. So the first one. Now 16th notes are grouped into fours. So you've got usually a bar of 4/4, so that's 4 quarter note beats per bar, and it's organized or grouped in a convenient way for you. So you've got 4 groups of those 4, and if you add those up, that adds to 16. That's why they're called 16th notes, because there are 16 in a bar of 4. So this is how it goes, just like that. And we really need to get alternate plucking going with this. So index, middle, although you can also start with middle, index, middle, index. I would get used to all of these rhythms without a metronome, and then you can bring one in like this. That's 110 beats per minute, so it's quite fast. I would suggest slowing it right down to whatever is comfortable for you. But first of all, don't worry about a metronome. A very good example of a steady stream of 16th notes is Joe Dart playing on Deantown, where it goes F sharp, so that's just F sharp to C sharp and then E to B. And when you play that, you will immediately realize that you need a lot of stamina. So if at any point you feel like you've got any sort of aches or pains, then that's a good signal to stop and also start much slower. So that's that first rhythm. Then we've got just 3. Okay. Now the little funny symbol there, that's a 16th note rest. And as you can see, every single beat is the same. So really you just need to decipher the first one, and then you just repeat it all the way. So it's just one way of counting this that people do is they go 1 E and a, and that gives you your 4 16th notes in the beat. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Counting is essential. I never actually do that or did that when I was learning bass. I just tap my foot like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time that I'm tapping, I'm just going, just making that sort of sound in my head. And that's 4. Every beat is 4. So whether you do 1 E and a or some sort of subdivision, doesn't matter. So here we're just doing the first 3 and then the 4th is a rest. Now let's just bring in the metronome here. And I'm just going to make things a bit more interesting, just make up a bass line around that maybe. I just played a C to an E flat, that's a minor third, the first bit of a minor pentatonic scale, and left a bigger gap. I did E flat, F, G. In reality, when you hear bass lines, they're mixtures of all of these rhythms and not exclusively 16th notes anyway. You know, they could be 8th notes, whole notes, whatever. Let's move on. So this is like 1 E and, the and, which is the third 16th note, 1 E and is a rest, okay? Or whether you're going... You could do what I used to do, which is I used to really slow things down. So I used to go like, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The third one is the one that's rest. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I used to literally just do that. 1, 2, rest. And you piece together the rhythm that way, especially when reading. And you and just doing that. And then after a while, you internalize the rhythm after a lot of practice with this, and then you can just we can read them instantly, but you can also call on them instantly. And that takes a bit of practice, but it can be done. I'm just using that C minor pentatonic again. Octave, just to make things a little bit more exciting, and you just may have heard something else. Ghost notes. We're going to start to introduce those now, especially used in funk. They sound really good. So that's the next rhythm. What about that? We've got the rhythm and then a ghost note immediately afterwards. I'm just going C, 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 octave, C, B flat, C. That's fret 5 to 3 to 5, again on the G string. And there I'm adding in a ghost note to the rest. Really clamp all 4 fingers down so you don't get a harmonic. You may need to slow this right down. Rest. You know, you've got a great bass line just there through a very simple minor pentatonic shape and a 16th note rhythm. Let's go on. Now here, you're just hitting the 1 E and the 1 and the and. That's beat 1 and beat 1.5. And that's just where your 8th notes lie anyway. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Next rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're hitting the first and the fourth 16th note. I know this is a bit mathematical, but really you're just counting to 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Always subdividing. That's absolutely essential. I go on about that all the time. If you want really, really great groove as a bass player, you just need to be very aware of where your beats are, whether you're nodding your head, tapping your foot, or sort of like dancing around, you're still feeling the beats, whichever method you use, and then you're subdividing into those 4s. So I don't know why I'm picking C minor pentatonic. You can do any scale in any place. Next one, just simply on every beat. Do you see what I mean? This is just sort of a reading and an academic exercise at this point. You're not really going to find a bass line that uses that too often. Okay, missing out the first beat each time. That can be quite interesting and awkward to play, actually. That metronome's a bit too fast for this lesson, but it is what it is. I would slow it right down. So 3, 4, 1. There's a bass line by Tony Levin on a live Peter Gabriel album. It's called Digging in the Dirt, and it does something a bit similar to that. So it's 3, 4. The last 2 notes tied. So I've definitely heard that one before. Okay, next one. I'll add that beat in. Try not to do that when you play bass, by the way, but just to show where it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're getting somewhere where I'm introducing this rhythm, but maybe some other rhythms in and around it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's bring in a drum beat. That was quite cool. That's a syncopated rhythm. It's where we have rhythms that aren't necessarily always on the beat. So I went, and there's a different rhythm there. Da, da, da. I'm not thinking about which rhythm it is. At one point, after you've studied 16th note rhythms, they become sort of internalized and you just play them. You don't care which one you're doing, you just do it, okay? Okay, next one, bit of a strange one. There's 3, 4. It's best played with the metronome, that one. 3, 4. You know, that's just an exercise at this point. There's not too much musical you can do with that. 3, 4, next one. Now I'm tapping, you can't see it, but I'm tapping my foot religiously there. And I know that I'm supposed to be targeting the second 16th note of every single beat. So it's like tap play, da, 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 or if you're counting 1 E, you're hitting the E's. Or if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the 2. Or if you're going da, it's that. So it's... And I find this is a good practice just to get your timing in order and your just awareness of where beats are in the grid of you know 16 16th notes in a bar. Okay, next one. So it's 1 E and a with the metronome. I've heard that sort of feel before in bass lines. Next one. So it's 1, it's on the ands again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Next one is hard to hear, hard to feel rather. It's 1 E and a. It's the last semiquaver, which is the same as 16th note, of every beat. So this is where you really have, you can get lost with this one if you're not subdividing each beat. So if you're going 1 E and a, it's that, and it's just before your foot taps for the next beat. It sounds awkward, it feels awkward to play. Very syncopated though. And then we've got the last configuration of 16th notes, which is just a load of rests. Okay. Now, if you look at this James Jamerson bass line here, you'll see that it's heavily focusing on 16th notes, but there are a lot of 8th notes that are there. 8th notes, 16th notes, you've got these double beams at the top, and an 8th note is just a single beam. And this is more what you would see in actual bass lines. Now this one's from a different sheet and I've put this on E. Again, you can download this, and again there will be an audio example of everything underneath. But let me just quickly whiz through these 16th note rhythms, which you'll hear a lot. There are others, but now you can really start to get sort of James Jamerson territory with this. That's not a James Jamerson bass line, I'm just making something up. You know, especially that one there. 16th, 8th, 16th. Use that a lot. You know, soul, R&B, Motown, you're starting to get into that territory. Let's move to what I was doing in the intro. I'll start to make some stuff up now and actually use some of these ideas in proper bass playing. I was playing around with, you know, This collection of notes, which is an E Dorian mode, very good for funk because we have a root, a flat third, flat 7, and a major 6. All those notes just together sound very funky. Okay, let's play something. So I'm focusing on 16th notes, but I'm not thinking about any of these rhythms, I'm just playing them. So let me just show you a few things I was doing. First of all, shape-wise, here are a collection of notes that I guess you could use. That is just E minor pentatonic. If I add this in, E minor blues, and if I add some of those Dorian notes in, really just sharp, the major 6. Those notes will sound good, okay? And then I was doing a lot of hammer-on. I was using my 1st to 3rd finger on frets, what was that? 7 to 9 on the G and the D, right? Shift down, and now I'm on frets 5 to 7 on all the E, A, D strings that configuration works. Okay, and then adding in ghost notes. Hammer on, ghost note. The ghost note, by the way, gives you a millisecond to move your fingers to the next place, especially when going across a string like this. Okay, nice little trick there. All 16th notes. 16th notes again. So you can get any combination, you can literally look at the sheet, look at a rhythm like this one. Just make something up. Constant stream there. And there you can get some syncopated stuff. I'll do something syncopated now. That means that I'm really not focusing on the downbeats. Okay. So I'm always aware of where the beats are, and if you're really good at 16th notes, you can just decide where you want to place them. Now, I don't want to boil bass playing down to this, but when you listen to really great bass lines and you work them out, you've got two things going on, invariably. You've got some really choice, interesting, cool sounding notes. In this case, we might say that's the E Dorian mode. If it's a jazz solo, you might be playing more scales. If it's a pop thing, it might be something simpler than that. So it's some cool notes and then some cool rhythm, and it's just a blend of those. And rhythms occur in time, and it's just, you can do whatever you like with rhythms. You don't have to do a steady stream of notes. You can use lots of gaps. That's why that last 16th note one with the whole bar of nothing is really important, because the space that you use in bass playing is also really important. Whether you play a fill or a solo or a bass line, space is really, really important. Okay, so I think that's enough. I'm going to put the link to those PDFs that you can download. There'll be an audio example underneath that you can click play just to hear how things go. You must just take your time internalizing these and intellectualizing this, and then just make music. I really was randomly just turning the C into a C minor pentatonic. You could do major. You can do anything you like with this, and I would really urge you to start making music with any theory or rhythm or whatever idea that you're given. Try to start making music with it. All it is just some scales and some rhythms, and once you get that, the light bulb moment will go off and you'll be away with it. Right, so I hope that helped. If you've got any questions or any follow-up ideas for lessons based around this, do let me know. Thanks for watching. See you next time.